Hello there, and welcome to the Sleepy Science Drift. Tonight we'll drift together through the quiet body of our home galaxy, the Milky Way. Let the world around you fade. Let your breath slow down until it feels like you are floating somewhere between thought and sleep. The stars have been waiting for you. They do not hurry, and neither should you. Every glow in the sky is a word in an ancient story, one that speaks softly of beginnings and endings, of birth and return. Tonight, we will listen to that story as it moves, quietly, around us. The Milky Way is not just a ribbon of light across the night. It is our cosmic address, a vast spiral turning slowly in space, made of stars, gas, dust, and something invisible that binds them all together. To the naked eye it seems still, but everything within it moves. The Earth turns. The Sun orbits the galactic center. The galaxy itself drifts through a greater sea. What we call stillness is only motion stretched across a longer rhythm. The universe breathes, and we are part of that breath. Imagine standing on a quiet plain, far from any light. Above you, the Milky Way rises like a river of frost. It looks peaceful, but what you see is the surface of a storm millions of years long. Each shimmer is a sun, each shadow a cloud of dust where new stars are being born. For more than 13 billion years, this galaxy has been changing. It has collided, merged, and mended itself countless times. We live inside its history. Every atom in our bodies was once part of those cosmic tides. Long ago, the Milky Way was not what it is now. It began as a small swirl of gas and darkness. Gravity gathered that gas into clumps, then into stars, then into clusters that pulled each other close. Small galaxies drifted together, merging into one greater spiral. The galaxy we call home was built from the ruins of many others. Even now, tiny galaxies still fall into it. One of them, the Sagittarius dwarf, is being pulled apart as you listen. Its stars are stretched into long streams that wrap around the Milky Way like threads of silver unraveling. In this quiet destruction lies the secret of growth. The galaxy consumes to create, takes to become. It is not violent, it is patient. Far away, the Andromeda Galaxy drifts closer to us, almost imperceptibly. It will take billions of years before the two spirals meet, but already their futures are intertwined. When they merge, there will be no crash, no chaos. The stars are too far apart for that. Instead, gravity will weave them together in a slow dance. Shapes will fold and stretch until a new galaxy forms, larger and calmer. Even galaxies are not eternal. They evolve, collide, and begin again. The Milky Way is alive in that way, always changing, never fixed. Some stars within it are older than the galaxy itself. Before the Milky Way had its spiral arms, before its core settled into shape, there were small, lonely galaxies forming stars from the first pure gases of the universe. When those galaxies merged into ours, they brought their ancient suns with them. These stars wander the halo above and below the galactic plane, moving in long, tilted paths. Their light is faint and their composition nearly pure hydrogen and helium. They are relics from a time when the universe was new. To see them is to look at the memory of creation itself. Our own sun is far younger. It sits in one of the Milky Way's quiet suburbs, circling the galactic center at more than 200 kilometers per second. Even at that speed, it takes about 225 million years to complete one orbit. This is what astronomers call a galactic year. Since the sun was born, It has completed only about 20 such revolutions. In human terms, that means that when the first dinosaurs walked the Earth, our solar system was in a completely different part of the galaxy. Everything moves, everything drifts, yet we rarely feel it. The scale of motion is too vast for our senses, too gentle for our brief lives. When you look up at the night sky, you see only a small fraction of what surrounds us. The stars visible to the eye are fewer than 1 in a million of those that exist in the Milky Way. The rest are hidden behind clouds of interstellar dust, too distant or too faint to reach us. The pale band that cuts across the sky is only the innermost whisper of the whole. We live inside a colossal river of starlight, yet we can see almost none of it. That invisibility is part of its beauty. The unseen invites the mind to imagine, to accept that mystery is not a lack of knowledge, but a deeper form of knowing. Astronomers say our galaxy continues to grow. It gathers material from the space around it, streams of gas from the intergalactic medium, and stars from smaller companions. It drinks from invisible rivers that stretch across the universe. This growth is slow, almost tender. It does not happen with explosions, but with gravity's quiet pull. Every time a new cloud of gas drifts inward, the Milky Way becomes slightly heavier, slightly older. In that way, it mirrors life itself, never still, always changing, never truly complete. The arms of the Milky Way are not rigid structures. They are more like waves in water, regions where gas and stars move together in a pattern that drifts through the disk. As these waves pass, they compress clouds of gas and new stars ignite within them. The light of these young stars illuminates the arms, giving them their glow. Our sun moves in and out of these spiral arms as it orbits the center, sometimes passing through regions rich with star formation, sometimes wandering through quiet stretches. The galaxy is not a clock, it is a current, and we are drifting within it. Some stars, however, do not drift gently. They are flung from the galactic core at unimaginable speeds, fast enough to escape the gravity of the Milky Way entirely. These are called hypervelocity stars. They are thought to be the remnants of pairs that wandered too close to the supermassive black hole at the center. One star is swallowed, and the other is hurled outward, cast into the dark between galaxies. These rogue stars travel alone for eternity. Their journeys remind us that even in the most stable systems, there are moments of sudden release, of freedom born from gravity itself. The Milky Way, for all its grandeur, is full of small stories like these. Each star, each cloud of dust, each drifting planet has its own rhythm. Together, they create a harmony so vast it seems silent. That silence is not emptiness, it is balance. In the calm turning of the galaxy lies a lesson about our own lives. Change does not always come with noise. Growth does not always announce itself. The most profound transformations happen slowly, invisibly, over spans of time too wide for our hearts to measure. If you could watch the galaxy from afar, speeding up time until millions of years passed like seconds, you would see it shimmer like a living thing. You would watch arms twist and fade, stars ignite and die, clouds collapse and bloom again. You would see collisions stretch it, gravity mend it, light pulse through it. It would not seem mechanical. It would seem organic, like a heartbeat made of light. And somewhere inside that pulse, the Earth would turn, carrying you quietly through the rhythm of its orbit. We often think of space as cold and distant, but perhaps it is more like a dream that moves too slowly for us to notice. The same gravity that holds galaxies together holds us to the ground. The same atoms that burn in stars make up the air we breathe. We are not separate from the cosmos. We are its continuation. When we look up, we are seeing our own history written in light. The Milky Way is a teacher of patience. It shows that everything grows through connection. Galaxies merge and share their matter. Stars die and give their elements to new stars. Even destruction becomes creation. There is no final end, only transformation. In the same way, our lives are woven from cycles of change. We let go, we begin again. The galaxy has been doing this for billions of years. Perhaps peace comes when we learn to move as it does, without resistance, without fear, trusting the slow intelligence of time. As you listen, imagine yourself floating above the spiral. Beneath you, arms of starlight curve through the dark. Dust clouds ripple like ink in water. The core glows softly, a warm heart beating in silence. Around it, the stars drift like thoughts across a sleeping mind. Somewhere in that vastness, the earth spins, tiny and bright. From this view, there is no rush, no boundaries, no noise, only motion that feels like stillness, only the gentle certainty that everything belongs. The Milky Way has been turning since long before our world was born, and it will keep turning long after our memories fade. Its stars will die, and new ones will take their place. The galaxy itself will merge and reshape and move on. Yet in this brief moment, we are part of it. We breathe its air, we carry its dust, we shine with its borrowed light. To be aware of that is to find calm. The night is vast, but it is not empty. It holds us quietly in its slow embrace. As you settle into rest, think of this. Somewhere above you, a star is forming right now from a cloud of darkness. Another is collapsing into silence. Between them lies the story of everything that ever was. You are inside that story. The galaxy turns, and you turn with it. Every heartbeat is a small echo of that endless motion. Every breath is a reminder that you belong to something immense and gentle. The stars do not rush, neither should you. Close your eyes and let the Milky Way drift through you, softly, endlessly, like light through quiet water. The Milky Way does not reveal itself easily. From where we stand, we can only see a thin cross-section of its body, a narrow band of light that curves across the night. The rest is hidden, folded behind clouds of dust and time. We live inside it, and because of that, we cannot see its full shape. It is like living inside a forest and trying to imagine the outline of every tree. Yet through patience and imagination, astronomers have drawn its portrait, piece by piece, using light that our eyes cannot see. Radio waves, infrared reflections, and X-rays fill in the shadows. What they reveal is a galaxy both delicate and immense, a structure that breathes in curves and layers, never still, never simple. For centuries, people imagined the Milky Way as a road of spilled light, a bridge between realms. That poetic vision was not wrong. It is indeed a bridge, though not of spirits, but of gravity. Stars, gas, and dust move together like water in a slow, luminous tide. If you could rise far above it, you would see a vast spiral, arms winding outward from a bright core. These arms are not fixed. They drift, twist, and blur, shaped by the invisible rhythm of gravity itself. The Milky Way is not a static picture, but a living motion, changing even as we watch. The spiral arms look solid in photographs, but they are not built from fixed collections of stars. They are patterns, waves of higher density moving through the galactic disk. When gas and dust pass through these regions, they are compressed and new stars are born. These newborn stars shine brightly, outlining the shape of the spiral arms for a while before they drift away and fade. What you see when you look at the Milky Way is a momentary illumination of this wave, a passing gleam in a pattern that never ends. The galaxy's arms are not permanent sculptures. They are living ripples, like currents flowing through a river of light. Our solar system lives quietly between two of these great arms, in a small bridge of stars called the Orion Spur. It is not as crowded as the main arms, nor as empty as the spaces between. Perhaps that is why life has flourished here. In this calm pocket, we are shielded from the most violent events of the galaxy, the supernova storms, the dense radiation fields, the restless gravitational tides. We orbit in a quiet corner of a cosmic city, close enough to feel its hum, far enough to rest in its peace. The Earth, in its silence, is part of a delicate balance written across 100,000 light years. At the center of the Milky Way lies a heart that we cannot see directly. It is hidden behind curtains of dust, but we know it is there. Astronomers call it Sagittarius A. It is a black hole, more than 4 million times the mass of the Sun, yet smaller than the orbit of Mercury. We do not see it, but we can watch its influence. Stars near the center move at incredible speeds, tracing tight loops around an invisible point. Their motion reveals the presence of something massive and unseen. This dark heart does not swallow everything around it. Instead, it keeps the galaxy in balance, holding its core together through quiet gravity. Sometimes, when gas and dust fall into it, the material flares with light before vanishing, as if the galaxy itself exhales for a moment before returning to calm. The shape of the Milky Way's center is unexpected. Instead of a perfect sphere, it swells and narrows like an hourglass. Astronomers call it a peanut-shaped bulge. It was formed over billions of years as stars drifted inward, creating a dense bar across the core that slowly buckled and lifted. Seen from afar, it looks like a glowing bridge crossing the galaxy's heart. This bar of stars rotates slowly, stirring gas, feeding new stars, and perhaps even guiding matter toward the black hole. It is not a simple structure. It is a dynamic engine, sculpted by time, motion, and gravity's quiet insistence. Surrounding the bright disk is a vast, dim halo. It extends far beyond what the eye can see, a sphere of ancient stars, globular clusters, and invisible dark matter. These clusters are among the oldest things in the galaxy, dense balls of hundreds of thousands of stars, bound tightly together. Many are over 12 billion years old, nearly as old as the universe itself. Their light is steady and faint, their motion slow. They drift above and below the galactic plane like lanterns in a deep sea. Each cluster is a memory, a fossil of the early galaxy. To observe them is to look into the galaxy's childhood, to glimpse the first sparks of order forming from chaos. The halo also carries the remnants of smaller galaxies that once fell into the Milky Way. Their stars were stretched and scattered, leaving long trails that arc across the sky. These stellar streams are like scars, quiet reminders of the galaxy's growth. When astronomers map them, they find ribbons of light that trace invisible paths of destruction and renewal. The Milky Way, for all its beauty, is a collection of such remnants, stitched together from countless collisions. Every shimmer of light you see is part of that layered history, a record of something that came before. Even the thin disk where we live is not flat. It bends upward on one side and downward on the other, forming a gentle wave. This warp may be caused by the pull of nearby satellite galaxies, or by the uneven tug of dark matter. It is a subtle curve, almost imperceptible from our position, but over thousands of light years it creates a graceful tilt, as if the galaxy itself were bowing. To imagine the Milky Way from outside is to see a glowing spiral, breathing, rippling, bending softly under the influence of forces it cannot resist. Like water shaped by the wind, it yields and reforms, always fluid. No two parts of the Milky Way move at the same speed. Stars near the center orbit quickly, while those on the outskirts move slowly. Yet somehow, through the pull of gravity and the mystery of dark matter, the galaxy remains intact. Without that invisible mass surrounding it, the outer stars would fly away into the dark. Dark matter acts as the unseen frame that holds the spiral together. We cannot see it, but its presence defines everything we can see. The Milky Way is luminous, not because of what shines, but because of what holds the light in place. It is a reminder that what we cannot see often carries the greatest strength. Within this grand architecture, there is still subtle order. The disk of the galaxy is layered, made of a thin region where most young stars live, and a thicker one above and below it filled with older stars. The thick disk moves differently, its orbits tilted and uneven, shaped by ancient mergers. Each layer carries a different rhythm, a different tone in the galaxy's quiet symphony. Together, they form a harmony of movement, a balance between youth and age, between brightness and shadow. If you could travel across the Milky Way from its edge to its heart, you would cross a landscape of astonishing contrasts. The outer arms are sparse and cool, filled with faint gas and old stars. Closer in, the light thickens, the stars grow younger, and the air of space becomes rich with clouds where new suns are born. Near the center, the density becomes so great that starlight merges into a soft golden haze. There, time itself seems to move differently, stretched by gravity, folded by motion. The galaxy is not one thing, but many, a continuum of conditions and histories held together in a single turning form. Sometimes the Milky Way seems like a simple spiral, elegant and calm. Other times it appears chaotic, asymmetric, uncertain of its own outline. The more precisely we observe it, the less perfect it becomes. One side is thicker, one arm brighter, one curve more twisted. These imperfections are not flaws, they are traces of life. No living thing is symmetrical. The galaxy's irregularities are its memories, written in starlight and dust. To look at it closely is to see not a machine, but a being in motion, carrying the marks of its own becoming. There are magnetic fields threading through the disk, invisible currents shaping how dust and gas move. They align along the spiral arms, rising and looping into the halo. They are weak by human standards, but across cosmic distances, they guide the flow of matter, influencing the birth of stars and the motion of cosmic rays. The Milky Way does not only glow with light, it breathes with magnetism. Its unseen lines of force weave through the dark, connecting every part of it in subtle patterns. The galaxy hums with energy even where no light shines. Above and below the galactic center stretch two vast bubbles of high-energy radiation, extending tens of thousands of light-years into space. They were discovered only recently, glowing faintly in gamma rays. No one knows exactly what created them. They may be remnants of a time when the central black hole was more active, flaring like a quasar, or they may mark ancient bursts of star formation. Whatever their origin, they are echoes of the galaxy's deeper past, faint but persistent. Even silence leaves traces. The Milky Way is immense, yet it is only one member of a small family of galaxies called the Local Group. Around it orbit smaller companions, the Magellanic Clouds, faint, irregular galaxies drifting nearby. Their gravitational pull tugs gently on our edges, distorting the outer disk. Streams of gas trail behind them like long veils, evidence of interaction. The Milky Way is not alone in space. It lives within a network of quiet relationships, a community of drifting lights bound by invisible threads. All of this complexity, all of this motion, and yet when we look up, it feels simple, a soft glow across the night, a silent curve of light. We see beauty because our eyes cannot see the chaos. That limitation is a kind of grace. If we could see every collision, every flare, every burst of radiation, we might find the night sky too violent to bear. The dust that hides the galaxy's heart also softens it, turning fire into glow, transforming motion into stillness. What hides the truth also makes it gentle. The Milky Way's shape is not perfect, and yet it is whole. Its asymmetry, its warp, its ripples and scars are part of what makes it alive. The galaxy reminds us that balance is not about symmetry, but harmony. The arms may twist unevenly, but they move together. The light may fade in one region, but it brightens in another. It holds contradictions the way a mind holds memories, all at once, without conflict. In that, it resembles us. We too are made of scattered parts, held together by invisible forces, turning through our own orbits, bound by things we cannot always name. To know the Milky Way is to learn patience. Every discovery reveals how much more there is to see. Every measurement is a question that opens another door. Yet even with all our technology, all our telescopes, what we see is still incomplete. That incompleteness is not failure. It is the nature of the galaxy itself. It will always remain partly hidden, partly imagined. Perhaps that is the way it should be. Mystery is not the opposite of knowledge. It is what gives knowledge its depth. So, when you look up at the night sky and see that faint streak of light, remember what lies within it. Billions of stars, spiral arms moving like tides, a core that hums with gravity, a halo filled with ancient suns, clouds of gas and dust carrying the seeds of new worlds. Remember also that what you see is only a reflection, a single layer of a structure too vast for the eye. The Milky Way is both map and mirror. It shows us not just where we are, but what we are made of. Every part of it speaks the same quiet truth, that beauty is not in perfection, but in motion, in patience, in the slow unfolding of light through darkness. And somewhere inside that unfolding, we drift, a small spark within a spiral of endless calm. Stars are the quiet heartbeat of the Milky Way. They are the glowing cells of its vast body, the scattered lights that give shape to its dark form. Every shimmer we see in the night sky is a story of birth, transformation, and return. Nothing in the galaxy is more constant, yet nothing is more temporary. Stars live long lives by human standards, but even the brightest of them are brief in the measure of cosmic time. To understand the Milky Way is to follow the journey of its stars, to see how they rise from darkness, shine for a while, and then surrender their light back to the void that made them. The birth of a star begins in silence. In the galaxy's spiral arms, great clouds of gas and dust drift together, cold and invisible. They are made mostly of hydrogen, the simplest of all elements, along with traces of heavier atoms formed in ancient explosions. For millions of years, these clouds wander, changing shape under the slow pull of gravity. Sometimes they pass through a wave of higher density in the spiral arms. Sometimes a nearby supernova sends a shock wave through them. These gentle disturbances compress the gas until it can no longer resist its own weight. Gravity tightens its grip, and the cloud begins to collapse inward. Inside the dark, a center forms. Molecules collide faster and faster, their motion creating heat. What was once cold begins to glow, faintly at first, then brighter. This is the birth of a protostar, a tiny sphere of plasma gathering strength. Around it, a disk of gas and dust swirls, feeding it slowly. The process can take millions of years, and yet, in the language of the galaxy, it is only a heartbeat. When the temperature at the core reaches about 10 million degrees, hydrogen atoms begin to fuse into helium. Light bursts from the core, pushing against gravity's pull. The battle between collapse and radiation finds balance. A star is born. From a distance, the process seems serene, but within it lies immense energy. The fusion of hydrogen releases light and warmth that will last for billions of years. Every star shines because gravity and pressure are perfectly matched. If gravity were slightly stronger, the star would collapse. If fusion were slightly weaker, it would fade. The balance is delicate, and it holds for unimaginable spans of time. The Milky Way is filled with such balances. Every star you see is an agreement between opposing forces, a lesson in harmony written in fire. Young stars are often born in groups, clustered together in what astronomers call stellar nurseries. The Orion Nebula is one such place, glowing faintly in our night sky. There, hundreds of newborn stars shine through a veil of gas and dust. These clusters eventually drift apart, scattering their members across the galaxy. Our own sun may have been born in such a cluster, surrounded by siblings that have long since wandered away. Somewhere in the Milky Way, they still shine, faint and distant, carrying the same ancient dust that once surrounded us all. Stars come in many kinds. The most massive are short-lived giants, burning hot and bright, consuming their fuel quickly. They live only a few million years before their cores collapse and explode as supernovae. Smaller stars, like our sun, burn more gently and can live for billions of years. The smallest of all, the red dwarfs, glow dimly but persist for trillions of years, outliving every other kind. In the Milky Way, most stars are small, quiet, and long-lived. They make up the soft glow of the galaxy's arms, unseen by the eye but endless in number. Each star follows the same basic journey, yet each path has its own tone. When a star exhausts the hydrogen in its core, fusion slows and gravity begins to win again. The core contracts, heating the outer layers until they expand outward. The star becomes a red giant, vast and fragile. Its outer atmosphere drifts away in shimmering waves, forming shells of gas that glow softly in space. Eventually, the outer layers disperse entirely, leaving behind a white dwarf, a small, dense remnant that shines only from its stored heat. Over billions of years, even that light will fade, and the star will cool into darkness. It does not die violently, but quietly, returning its material to the galaxy to be used again. Massive stars die differently. When fusion can no longer support their weight, their cores collapse in an instant. The outer layers fall inward and rebound, exploding into space as a supernova. For a brief time, such an explosion can outshine the entire galaxy. The energy released is almost beyond imagination. In that violent moment, the star creates elements heavier than iron, scattering them into the interstellar medium. Gold, silver, carbon, oxygen, all are born in these deaths. Everything we are made of, every atom in our blood and bones, was once part of such a star. We are the ash of ancient fire. Some massive stars leave behind neutron stars, incredibly dense spheres only a few kilometers wide, but heavier than the sun. Their gravity is immense, their spin rapid. Many emit beams of radiation that sweep across space like cosmic lighthouses. We call them pulsars, and their regular pulses of light mark time for the galaxy. Others collapse entirely into black holes, points of infinite density where even light cannot escape. These remnants are not dead, but transformed. They continue to shape the galaxy, bending light, drawing matter, whispering of what lies beyond our understanding. When a star dies, it does not vanish. Its material drifts outward, mingling with interstellar gas. Over time, that material cools, condenses, and forms new clouds. From those clouds, new stars are born. The galaxy is a recycler, endlessly renewing itself through cycles of creation and return. Every bright point in the sky is a chapter in that cycle. Some are newborns, still surrounded by the dust of their creation. Others are elders nearing the end of their lives. Together, they form a web of light across the darkness, a living organism made of flame and silence. Supernovae, though rare, play a crucial role in this cycle. Their shock waves stir the surrounding gas, compressing it and triggering new waves of star formation. Their radiation clears the regions around them, shaping the structure of the galaxy. The Milky Way's arms, glowing softly in visible light, are dotted with these active regions. In their glow, the galaxy breathes. One generation of stars creates the conditions for the next, passing along the elements that make planets and life possible. The death of a star is not an ending, but a preparation for another beginning. Not all stars remain where they were born. Some are flung into interstellar space by gravitational encounters, becoming wanderers. Others drift slowly through the galaxy, their paths shaped by invisible tides. Even our sun moves through the Milky Way at a steady pace, carrying its planets along on a long orbit around the center. The galaxy is filled with such motion, yet from within it feels still. The scale of these journeys is so vast that movement becomes imperceptible. To live within the Milky Way is to inhabit a stillness made of endless travel. The light from stars travels across unimaginable distances before reaching us. When we see a star, we see it as it was long ago. The nearest are seen as they were a few years ago. The farthest in our galaxy appear as they were thousands of years in the past. In this way, the night sky is not a present moment, but a collection of memories. Every twinkle is a message from another time. Some of the stars we see tonight may already be gone, their light still crossing the gulf that separates us. The sky above us is both living and ghostly, a map of what was and what still echoes. In the heart of each star lies fusion, the simplest and most profound process in nature. It is the alchemy that turns light elements into heavy ones, energy into matter, time into form. In fusion, the universe transforms itself. It is the same process that powered the first generation of stars. that shaped galaxies, that gave birth to the elements of life. To study fusion is to study creation itself, to witness how the universe makes itself anew. It is an act of constant renewal, a fire that does not destroy but creates balance. When we look at the Milky Way, we see a great congregation of stars, but we also see their unity. Each one, no matter how distant, obeys the same laws. The same physics that governs the sun governs the faintest light at the edge of the galaxy. The same dance of gravity and pressure, the same balance between collapse and expansion. This unity is both scientific and spiritual. It reminds us that the universe is not divided into parts, but woven together in one continuous fabric of cause and effect, motion and rest. The Milky Way's stars are not evenly distributed. Some regions are dense with clusters, others sparse. In the galactic core, stars are packed tightly, their light blending into a golden haze. In the outer arms, they are far apart, shining in solitude. Yet even in the emptiest regions, there is connection. Gravity reaches across the void, binding them into a single whole. This connectedness is what keeps the galaxy together, and it mirrors something within us. We too are held together by unseen forces, connected to everything around us by threads we cannot always see. Stars are the storytellers of time. Their colors reveal their ages, their temperatures, their compositions. Blue stars burn hot and young. Red stars burn cool and old. By studying their light, we can read the history of the galaxy. We can see where new stars are forming, where old ones are fading, where the next cycle of creation is beginning. In this way, the Milky Way speaks through its stars, telling us about its past and hinting at its future. Light is its language, and silence is its rhythm. The galaxy, taken as a whole, is not just a structure of stars, but a conversation between birth and decay. Every moment, new stars ignite as old ones die. The balance between them keeps the galaxy luminous but stable. Too much birth would consume its gas too quickly. Too much death would darken it. The Milky Way moves along this narrow path, neither rushing nor slowing, maintaining a steady glow that has lasted for billions of years. This balance is not unlike our own search for peace, a way of living between extremes, neither holding too tightly nor letting go too soon. When you gaze into the night sky and see the faint silver wash of the Milky Way, remember that you are seeing not one thing, but billions. Each of those points of light is a sun, many with their own planets, perhaps even with their own watchers looking back. Somewhere, in the quiet of another world, another mind might be looking toward us, wondering the same things. The galaxy holds more than stars. It holds the possibility of consciousness scattered through its arms, small lights awakening in the dark. In the end, the life and death of stars are not just astronomical facts. They are metaphors written in physics. From collapse comes light. From light comes creation. From death comes renewal. The stars show us that endings are beginnings in disguise, that every fading glow feeds another spark. The Milky Way's beauty lies not in its permanence, but in its flow, in its endless exchange between energy and rest. To drift through it is to witness the universe learning how to become itself. So when you close your eyes tonight, imagine that you are lying beneath the soft curve of the galaxy. Above you, stars are being born, others are dying, and their light mingles in a slow, silent wave. The same atoms that make you once shone in those stars, the same energy that warms their cores, beats quietly in your heart. You are not apart from them. You are their continuation, their echo, their dream carried forward. The Milky Way is alive, and you are part of its breath. Let that thought settle in you like starlight on calm water. The galaxy turns, the stars burn and fade, and through it all, the universe hums softly to itself, infinite, gentle, and whole. The Milky Way, for all its visible beauty, is mostly made of things we cannot see. It glows with hundreds of billions of stars, yet those stars are only a thin layer on the surface of something far deeper, something invisible that holds everything together. If light is the voice of the galaxy, then gravity is its breath, and dark matter is its silence. The stars, the gas, the dust, the nebulae, even the glowing heart at the center, all drift within this unseen field. Without it, the galaxy would scatter into the dark. Every orbit, every spiral arm, every slow turn of the stars depends on this quiet structure that no human eye can ever witness directly. When we first measured the speed of stars moving through the Milky Way, something did not make sense. The stars near the edge were moving far too fast. According to Newton's laws, they should have flown away into space. The visible matter, the luminous stars and gas, simply did not have enough gravity to hold them. Yet the galaxy stayed whole. It rotated like a single graceful wheel of silk. The only explanation was that there must be something else, some invisible weight surrounding it. That unseen mass is what scientists now call dark matter. Dark matter does not shine, reflect, or absorb light. It cannot be touched or seen, yet it outweighs everything luminous in the universe. For every particle of ordinary matter, there are roughly 5 of dark matter. It is a shadow substance, present everywhere and nowhere. It neither collides nor clumps in the way normal matter does. Instead, it moves like a calm ocean, shaping the movement of galaxies while remaining itself unbroken. In this way, it becomes the quiet architecture of creation, a skeleton of gravity holding the cosmos together. Imagine the Milky Way floating within a vast halo of this invisible matter. The halo extends far beyond the visible disk, surrounding it like a sphere of stillness. The stars move within it like dust in a soft breeze, guided by a force they cannot see. The halo does not end abruptly. It fades into the darkness between galaxies, merging with the larger web that fills the universe. On the grandest scales, dark matter forms threads that connect galaxies like beads on a cosmic string. The Milky Way drifts along one of these threads, part of a network that stretches across the entire universe. This unseen structure shapes everything we know. Where dark matter gathers, galaxies form. Where it is sparse, emptiness reigns. It creates the pattern of the universe itself, a map drawn in gravity rather than light. The stars are only the glowing tips of that map, the visible outlines of something much larger. Even now, astronomers are still trying to understand what dark matter is. It could be made of unknown particles, or perhaps a new kind of energy entirely. We do not know, and that not knowing is part of its quiet grace. Some mysteries must be lived with, not solved. Gravity, too, is a kind of mystery. It is the oldest of the forces we know, and yet it remains the most elusive. We can describe how it acts, we can measure its pull, but we do not truly understand what it is. It binds the Milky Way together. It holds the Earth to the Sun. It shapes the very flow of time. Einstein taught us that gravity is not a force in the usual sense, but the curvature of space itself. Matter bends space, and space tells matter how to move. Every orbit is a curve in that invisible fabric. Every falling apple, every circling moon, every spinning galaxy is simply following the shape of the universe. In the Milky Way, gravity is both artist and guardian. It sculpts the spiral arms, keeps the stars in their orbits, and directs the flow of gas and dust. Without it, the galaxy would not exist. Yet gravity also hides its own hand. It is never seen, only felt through the motion of others. The Milky Way is like a grand dance in which the dancers never touch, only move in response to an unseen rhythm. The stars follow paths drawn by gravity's quiet design, turning endlessly around a center that itself drifts through the cosmic sea. At the heart of this motion lies the galaxy's central black hole. Sagittarius A sits in the core, silent and invisible, with the mass of millions of suns compressed into a single point. It does not shine, but its presence is unmistakable. The stars near it whirl at breathtaking speeds, some completing an orbit in just a few years. These motions reveal the black hole's weight, its invisible pull. Occasionally, a cloud of gas strays too close and spirals inward. As it falls, it heats up and glows in X-rays before vanishing. These brief flashes are the galaxy's heartbeat, reminders that even in its stillness, the core is alive. Black holes are not holes in the usual sense. They are regions of space where gravity has become so intense that nothing, not even light, can escape. Inside, space and time curve inward until they lose their meaning. The boundary around a black hole, called the event horizon, is like a veil between the known and the unknowable. Once something crosses it, it can never return. And yet, black holes are not monsters. They are the natural result of gravity carried to its quiet extreme. They are the balance to creation, the other side of the same process that makes stars. In them, the universe folds back into itself, resting for a moment before beginning again. Around the Milky Way's black hole, gravity reigns supreme. It organizes chaos into order, turning the wild motion of stars into graceful orbits. It bends the paths of light itself, making the invisible visible through distortion. Through this bending, astronomers have captured images of the region around Sagittarius A, revealing a ring of glowing gas spinning around the darkness. It is like an eye at the center of the galaxy, calm and endless, watching itself turn. Gravity does more than hold the galaxy together. It creates the very possibility of stars, planets, and life. It gathers clouds of gas into dense knots that ignite into suns. It keeps planets circling those suns, stable enough for oceans to form and endure. Without gravity, there would be no structure, no warmth, no continuity. It is both the gentlest and the most powerful of forces. Its reach is infinite, but its touch is patient. It works slowly, shaping the universe grain by grain, orbit by orbit. Beyond gravity lies another mystery: dark energy. If dark matter pulls galaxies together, dark energy pushes them apart. It is the force behind the expansion of the universe, the reason why distant galaxies drift away faster and faster. Together, dark matter and dark energy form a cosmic balance, one drawing in, the other letting go. The Milky Way exists between these two great tendencies, held in the delicate harmony of motion and stillness. The galaxy hums with invisible activity. Magnetic fields thread through its spiral arms, guiding the movement of charged particles. Cosmic rays, born from distant supernovae, race through the void at nearly the speed of light. tracing paths shaped by those fields. High-energy radiation glows faintly in every direction, a whisper of ancient creation. Even where there is no light, there is structure, motion, connection. The Milky Way is more alive in its darkness than in its glow. When we listen to this cosmic orchestra, what we hear is balance. The visible and invisible, the strong and the soft, the known and the unknown, all coexist. Dark matter anchors the stars, gravity conducts their dance, light reveals their rhythm. Together, they form a single whole, a system that endures through harmony rather than control. In that balance lies a lesson. The universe does not resist the unseen, it flows with it. It trusts what cannot be measured. Sometimes we imagine the unseen as emptiness, but in truth, it is fullness. The space between stars is not empty, but filled with fields and particles, with invisible waves that carry energy and information. What appears silent is humming with presence. The Milky Way itself moves through this invisible sea, trailing a wake of magnetic ripples. Even the space within us is mostly empty, filled with the same quiet fabric that binds the stars. In that sense, we are made of the same silence as the galaxy. The more we learn about the invisible forces around us, the more we understand how delicate existence really is. If gravity were slightly weaker, stars would never form. If dark energy were slightly stronger, galaxies would drift apart before life could begin. The universe walks a narrow path between extremes, balanced on conditions so precise they seem chosen. Whether by chance or by some deeper order, we do not know. What we can say is that the galaxy's calm beauty depends entirely on forces we cannot see. This knowledge does not diminish the wonder, it deepens it. The unseen is not a void to be feared, but a mystery to be honored. The Milky Way is luminous because of darkness. Its light is held in place by what we cannot see. Its shape is defined by forces that have no color, no sound, no substance. And yet through them the universe becomes visible. Without the invisible, there would be no visible. Without silence, there would be no song. As the galaxy turns, the pull of gravity keeps each star in its place. The sun follows a long, slow orbit around the center, never straying too far. The planets follow the sun, and we, in turn, follow them. Every life, every moment, every heartbeat is part of that motion. We are not drifting aimlessly. We are being carried by a pattern that has existed since before time began. When you stand under the night sky and feel small, remember that you are moving with the galaxy itself, part of its great and gentle curve. Scientists still search for the nature of dark matter, for the meaning of gravity, for the source of the universe's balance. But perhaps understanding is not the only goal. Perhaps wonder itself is a form of knowledge. To look into the dark and accept that it holds what we need to exist is an act of faith. Not in gods or myths, but in the quiet intelligence of the cosmos. The Milky Way does not hide its mysteries out of cruelty. It hides them out of grace. The unseen is a reminder that not everything real must be revealed. If you close your eyes and breathe, you can imagine it. Around you, the earth turns, the sun moves, the galaxy spins, and all of it is held by gravity's unseen hand. The stars above you are bound to that same force, moving in curves too vast to trace. The dark matter halo surrounds it all, a silent companion that neither shines nor fades. The Milky Way drifts through the universe like a lantern carried by the wind, glowing softly against the endless black. Its light is fragile, but its foundation is unbreakable. In the end, The story of the Milky Way is the story of trust in what cannot be seen. The galaxy turns because gravity holds it. The stars shine because darkness supports them. We live because invisible forces weave space and time into a fabric strong enough to cradle life. The lesson is simple and eternal. The unseen is not the absence of meaning, but its source. Like the quiet spaces between breaths, it is where everything begins. So tonight, as you rest beneath the sky, remember the dark that surrounds the light. Remember that every star depends on what it cannot see, and so do we. The Milky Way turns gently, held by gravity's hand, wrapped in dark matter's embrace, balanced between creation and stillness. Its silence is not emptiness, it is peace. It is the soft voice of the universe, whispering through the dark. You are part of this. You are held. You are home. Time in the Milky Way does not move as it does in our minds. To us, a year is a cycle of seasons, a small circle of sunlight and shadow. But for the galaxy, a year is something vast and almost unimaginable. One galactic year, the time it takes for our sun to complete a single orbit around the center of the Milky Way, lasts about 225 million Earth years. Since the birth of our world, only about 20 such years have passed. When we think of time in this way, human history becomes smaller, not in worth, but in weight. It becomes a single breath in a much older rhythm, a ripple on the surface of a cosmic sea that has no beginning and no end. The Milky Way is ancient, older than our planet, older than our sun, almost as old as time itself. 13 billion years have passed since its first stars lit up, yet in the measure of the universe, it is still young. Its spiral arms continue to turn, its stars continue to live and die, and new ones continue to form from the dust of the old. Time here is not a line, but a circle, a continuous flow where creation and decay are not opposites but partners. Every orbit of the galaxy is a meditation on patience, a reminder that change does not need to hurry to be complete. As the sun travels through the galaxy, it carries us with it, moving at nearly 200 kilometers per second through a field of stars and dust. We are passengers in this motion, unaware of its speed, because everything around us moves with us. It is like floating in a river that has no banks, feeling no current yet drifting endlessly forward. The path of the sun is not a flat circle. It oscillates gently above and below the galactic plane, rising and falling like a slow heartbeat. Every 30 million years or so, it passes through the densest part of the disk, then drifts back into quieter regions. These oscillations create cycles that shape not only the stars, but perhaps life itself. Some scientists have suggested that as the solar system moves through different parts of the galaxy, it encounters clouds of gas, cosmic rays, and gravitational tides that influence the conditions on Earth. Mass extinctions, climate shifts, and evolutionary bursts might all carry the faint imprint of the sun's galactic journey. Whether or not this is true, the idea is beautiful, that the rhythm of life on our small planet might be connected to the slow breathing of the galaxy itself. In that sense, we are not separate observers of the Milky Way, but part of its pulse. When we measure time by human lives, everything seems urgent. Days rush by, moments slip through our fingers. But when we measure time by the galaxy's scale, everything softens. The stars do not hurry. Their light takes tens of thousands of years to cross from one side of the Milky Way to the other. Clouds of gas collapse over millions of years before a single star is born. Even death here happens slowly, with stars fading gently over eons before dissolving into dust. Nothing in the galaxy is wasted, and nothing is done in haste. The Milky Way teaches that patience is not waiting, but trusting the pace of becoming. From the perspective of a galaxy, human civilization is a flicker. The first cities, the rise and fall of empires, the span of recorded history, all happen in less than the blink of a cosmic eye. Yet within that blink, we have learned to look outward, to understand the nature of stars, to name the galaxy we live in. We are brief, but we are aware. Awareness itself is the galaxy waking up to its own existence, for a moment, through us. Our thoughts are its thoughts, slowed down into words, our curiosity the continuation of its endless motion. Time in the Milky Way is not uniform. Near the massive heart of the galaxy, where gravity bends space more sharply, time flows slightly slower. Farther from the center, where the pull is weaker, it moves faster. This difference is tiny, almost imperceptible, yet it exists. Time itself curves under the weight of matter, stretched and compressed by the presence of stars. It is as though the galaxy breathes through time as well as space, inhaling and exhaling moments at different speeds. The universe does not tick like a clock. It drifts, bends, and sways, a rhythm too slow for any ear but its own. Every atom within us has traveled through time in ways we can hardly imagine. The iron in our blood was forged in the heart of an ancient supernova, billions of years before the Earth existed. The calcium in our bones once floated in clouds that circled the galaxy long before the sun was born. When we speak of age, we usually mean years counted by the turning of our world. But our true age is written in elements, in stardust older than the Milky Way itself. We are not newcomers to the universe. We are its memory gathered into living form. The galaxy holds this memory not through words, but through motion and light. The chemical composition of each star carries the record of the environment where it was born. Astronomers read this record as we might read lines on a palm. They see when the Milky Way merged with smaller galaxies, when bursts of star formation lit its arms, when quiet periods of rest allowed it to breathe. Every star is a clock, every orbit a line in the story of time. Together, they tell the tale of a galaxy that has grown not through force, but through the quiet patience of evolution. Human time feels fragile beside this vastness, yet it gains meaning because of it. To live is to exist within layers of time, from the heartbeat to the orbit, from the flicker of a neuron to the turn of a spiral arm. We are made of moments nested inside greater moments, each one echoing the last. The Milky Way reminds us that small things matter, not despite their brevity, but because of it. A single spark can illuminate a night. A single thought can connect an entire universe. The stars do not diminish us by their size. They enlarge us by their reflection. There is a humility in recognizing our scale, but also a kind of freedom. If the galaxy can turn for billions of years without pause, then we too can move through our own days without rushing. Our worries, our triumphs, our fears, they are weather passing across the surface of something much older. Time will soften them. The same way the galaxy smooths the orbits of stars, our lives find balance through the slow curve of experience. Nothing that happens is truly lost. It becomes part of the larger pattern, woven into the quiet memory of the whole. In the Milky Way, age does not mean decline. The galaxy has changed over time, but it has not faded. Its stars continue to form, its arms continue to shift, its core continues to glow. It is not dying, it is maturing. The pace of its creation has slowed, but that slowness carries wisdom. There is beauty in restraint, in allowing things to unfold without force. The galaxy has learned this over billions of years. It does not rush toward its future. It drifts, aware of its place in the endless cycle of transformation. The vastness of time within the galaxy offers perspective. It invites us to release the need for urgency, to see the long shape of things. When you look at the night sky, you are not seeing the present. You are seeing layers of time overlapping. Some stars are as they were when humans first learned to walk upright. Others shine from eras long before Earth existed. The light that reaches your eyes tonight began its journey before your ancestors were born, before the oceans settled into their shapes, before the moon found its orbit. In every beam of starlight is a message from the past, and in every heartbeat, a promise to the future. The galaxy moves through cycles of creation and stillness, but it does not measure time as we do. It measures it through balance. Too much creation would exhaust its fuel. Too little would dim its glow. It finds the middle path, a rhythm of renewal that has kept it luminous for billions of years. We too search for that balance, between action and rest, between striving and being. The Milky Way is not hurried, and yet it is never still. It teaches that motion and peace can coexist, that growth can happen quietly, without noise or haste. Every human life unfolds within the movement of the galaxy. The day you were born, the sun was in one place along its orbit. When you are old, it will be far away, perhaps in a different arm of the spiral. The constellations will have changed their shapes. The night sky your descendants see will not be the one you know, and yet the pattern will remain, different and the same, like the rhythm of a song that never ends. The Milky Way carries us all in its slow dance, turning us through ages we cannot count, whispering through gravity that nothing ever truly stops. Some stars move in pairs or groups, orbiting each other in a miniature echo of the galaxy's motion. Their companionship lasts millions of years, bound by gravity's gentle pull. In that, there is a reflection of our own relationships. We too orbit one another, pulled together by invisible forces of love and memory. Our lives touch, drift apart, and sometimes return, but all are part of the same great pattern. The stars remind us that connection is not an accident, it is the natural shape of time. When you think of how vast the Milky Way is, it can be hard to feel significant. Yet meaning does not depend on size. The smallest atom contributes to the structure of a star, just as the briefest moment can change the shape of a life. The galaxy's beauty comes from the sum of its parts, from the harmony of countless small things moving together. In the same way, our meaning comes from participation, from being part of the whole. Every thought, every breath, every act of kindness is a light within the larger pattern. Time within the Milky Way is not a burden, but a gift. It allows for evolution, for reflection, for renewal. It reminds us that we belong to something that began long before us and will continue long after. This realization does not diminish our lives, it sanctifies them. To exist at all within such immensity is a form of grace. The galaxy has room for everything, for the young and the old, for the new and the forgotten. Its patience is infinite, and we are held within it. So when you feel hurried, remember the galaxy. Remember that the sun takes 200 million years to complete its journey, and it does not rush. Remember that stars take millennia to form and millennia to fade. Remember that even light, the fastest thing in the universe, takes time to cross the darkness. Everything worth becoming takes time. The Milky Way turns, and we turn with it, each of us a flicker in its long and gentle revolution. Perhaps that is the quiet truth of the galaxy, that there is no such thing as wasted time. Every moment, even the still ones, contributes to the greater motion. The pauses, the silences, the slow breaths, they are all part of the dance. The Milky Way does not measure progress by speed, but by harmony. It does not ask the stars to shine brighter than they can. It lets them be what they are, for as long as they last. And in that acceptance lies a kind of wisdom, a peace we too can learn. When the night grows deep and you find yourself under the open sky, let the sight of the Milky Way remind you of the rhythm you share with it. You are moving through space and through time, part of a journey older than memory. The stars above you are not distant strangers, but ancient companions, their light reaching you like gentle hands across the dark. The galaxy holds them as it holds you, softly, patiently, in an orbit that never truly ends. And somewhere within that orbit, between one heartbeat and the next, time itself becomes quiet. Between the stars, the Milky Way seems quiet. When we gaze at the night sky, we imagine that the dark spaces between points of light are empty, but they are not. They are filled with a delicate substance, the invisible breath of the galaxy itself. Dust, gas, plasma, and magnetic fields drift in vast filaments, weaving through the spiral arms like veins in a living body. This is the interstellar medium, the quiet network that connects everything. It is not lifeless space. It is the material of creation, the cradle of stars, and the whisper of life. If you could travel into those spaces, you would not find nothingness. You would find beauty too faint for the eye to see. Clouds of hydrogen stretch for light years, cool and dark, waiting for the touch of gravity. Small particles of carbon and silicate dust float in silence, drifting like ash through sunlight. Between them, molecules form and dissolve: water, ammonia, methane, even the building blocks of life. These clouds are thin beyond imagining, so diffuse that a handful of air from Earth would outweigh an entire roomful of interstellar gas. Yet, across the vastness of the Milky Way, these clouds make up a significant portion of its mass. They are the breath between stars, the quiet sea in which the galaxy swims. The dust itself is not like the dust we know. Each grain is microscopic, shaped by ancient explosions. It absorbs starlight, scattering shorter wavelengths and letting the red light pass. That is why the heart of the Milky Way glows in deep tones of crimson and gold. The dust does not simply hide the light, it also protects it. Within these dusty cocoons, new stars are born. They form in the darkest places, hidden from the glare of the older generation. Gravity gathers the dust and gas into knots. The temperature drops until hydrogen atoms pair into molecules. Slowly, the cloud begins to collapse, and within it, the first sparks of a new sun ignite. From the outside, these regions appear as dark patches across the bright background of the galaxy. To the eye, they look like holes in the light, but in truth, they are nurseries. The Orion Nebula, the Eagle Nebula, the Carina Nebula. Each is a place where stars are being born right now. The radiation from nearby hot stars carves pillars and waves into the clouds, shaping them into patterns of astonishing beauty. It is as if the galaxy itself were sculpting, using light as its chisel and darkness as its clay. Within these clouds, gravity, chemistry, and time work together in silence, and from that silence, new light is born. This process is not separate from us. The dust between the stars carries the same elements that form our bodies: carbon, oxygen, nitrogen, and iron, all forged in the hearts of ancient suns, now float freely through space, waiting to be gathered into new worlds. When a star dies, it releases its matter back into the galaxy, feeding the clouds that will one day give rise to others. This is the galactic cycle of life, a rhythm so vast it can only be felt through imagination. The Milky Way is not a static structure. It is a living ecosystem where everything is reused, everything transformed. Within this interstellar medium, organic molecules form spontaneously. Even in the coldest, darkest regions, chemistry never stops. Complex carbon compounds, similar to those that form in living cells, assemble on the surfaces of dust grains. Alcohols, sugars, and amino acid precursors have been found drifting in these clouds. The galaxy is a quiet laboratory, building the ingredients of life over millions of years. When new stars are born, they inherit these molecules. Their surrounding disks of dust and gas become the material from which planets form. In this way, the chemistry of the stars becomes the chemistry of life. Our own solar system began in such a place. The sun was born from a cloud enriched by generations of stars that lived and died before it. The earth carries their legacy in its rocks and oceans. The water that fills our seas may once have drifted as vapor between distant stars. The carbon in our cells once floated in the breath of the galaxy. When we say that we are made of stardust, it is not a metaphor. It is a scientific truth and a spiritual one. We are the galaxy's memory, condensed into living form. The interstellar medium is not static. It moves in cycles like a great tide. Supernova explosions push gas outward, heating it to millions of degrees. This hot plasma rises into the galactic halo, where it cools and eventually falls back down as cooler clouds. Astronomers call this the galactic fountain. It is as though the Milky Way breathes, exhaling energy, inhaling matter, renewing itself in a rhythm that spans millions of years. Each breath carries the ashes of old stars and the seeds of new ones. The galaxy does not waste. It transforms endlessly. Even the space far above the galactic plane, where the stars thin out, is alive with motion. Streams of gas fall toward the disk, drawn by gravity. Some of this gas comes from intergalactic space, flowing along the cosmic web like rain feeding a river. The Milky Way grows by gathering these invisible streams, replenishing the material needed to make new stars. From this perspective, the galaxy is not an isolated island, but a node in a vast network, connected to everything around it. The same forces that shape one galaxy shape them all. Every filament, every flow, every whisper of gas is part of a larger whole. Among these drifting clouds are worlds without suns, rogue planets wandering through the dark. They are the orphans of the galaxy, flung away from their systems by gravitational encounters. Though they travel alone, they are not lost. They continue to move within the galaxy's field, guided by its gravity, warmed sometimes by their own inner heat. Some may have oceans beneath icy shells, kept liquid by radioactive decay. In the deep night of space, even solitude carries warmth. The Milky Way holds them gently, allowing them to drift in peace. The dust and gas between stars are not empty of sound. If we could translate their vibrations into frequencies our ears could hear, we would find that the galaxy hums with low, continuous tones. Magnetic fields ripple through the plasma, creating waves that travel for light years. Radiation pulses, particles collide, and energy moves like a soft current. The interstellar medium is the galaxy's voice, too deep and too slow for us to detect directly. Yet it is there, a quiet music of motion that connects every atom to every other. When we observe the Milky Way in radio or infrared light, we see this hidden world revealed. What seems like darkness becomes filled with intricate shapes, filaments, bubbles, arcs, and spirals. These patterns are the fingerprints of ancient events, supernovae, stellar winds, collisions of clouds. Each structure carries the memory of what created it. The galaxy is written in layers, every part influencing every other, every movement leaving a trace. To study it is to read a story that has no single author, a story written by gravity, light, and time. There is a spiritual calm in recognizing how the smallest particle contributes to the largest whole. A single dust grain may seem insignificant, yet without dust, stars could not form. Without stars, there would be no planets. Without planets, no oceans, no trees, no eyes to look back at the stars. The galaxy is a chain of being, each link necessary, each connection sacred. The silence between the stars is not emptiness, but belonging. The interstellar medium also teaches the beauty of impermanence. Every cloud will eventually disperse, every dust grain will be burned or broken, every star will one day release its matter back into the flow. Nothing remains fixed, and yet the galaxy persists. It is the constant through change, the pattern that survives its own transformations. In that way, it mirrors life itself. We too are temporary shapes in a larger cycle, our atoms destined to wander long after our names are forgotten. There is comfort in this. To be impermanent is to be part of something that never truly ends. When you look up at the Milky Way, the soft haze you see is the sum of all this activity. Every shimmer of light passes through layers of gas and dust before reaching your eyes. Some of it is absorbed, some scattered, some transformed into new colors. The light that survives carries within it the fingerprints of everything it touched. It is as if the galaxy speaks through its light, telling us where it has been and what it has made. And as that light enters your eyes, it becomes part of you, part of your memory. In that moment, you and the galaxy are connected by the simplest of exchanges, the sharing of light. The same interstellar dust that hides the stars also helps them shine more beautifully. Without it, the night sky would be harsh, filled with unfiltered light. The dust softens the view, turning sharp brilliance into gentle glow. It gives the Milky Way its warmth, its mystery, its dreamlike quality. The same thing happens in life. What obscures can also reveal. What dims can also define. Sometimes clarity is less truthful than mystery. The galaxy reminds us that beauty often lies in the veil, not behind it. Life, too, is born from this mixture of clarity and obscurity. The elements we need, carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, travel through the interstellar medium before finding their way into new worlds. There, chemistry becomes biology. The same molecules that drift through space can become the foundation for consciousness. It is possible that elsewhere in the galaxy, other beings have opened their eyes to the same starlight, built from the same dust, breathing the same invisible heritage. The Milky Way may be filled with quiet awareness, scattered like sparks across its arms, each one a reflection of the same cosmic mind. To think of this is to feel both small and infinite. We are a tiny part of the galaxy, yet the galaxy lives within us. Every breath we take recycles atoms that have traveled from the hearts of long-dead stars. Every heartbeat vibrates within the same magnetic field that threads through the Milky Way. The connection is literal, physical, and profound. The galaxy is not out there. It is here, in us as us. The interstellar medium reminds us that what seems empty can be full of life and meaning. It invites us to trust the unseen, to find richness in the quiet spaces. When we stand beneath the stars, we are not standing beneath a ceiling, but within a vast and living structure. The darkness between the stars is not the absence of light, it is the presence of potential. Everything we are, everything we know, has passed through that darkness. So tonight, as you close your eyes, imagine yourself floating in the soft fabric of the Milky Way. Around you drift grains of dust, each one a seed of creation. The faint hum of magnetic fields moves through you like breath. Far away, a star is forming, and its light will someday reach your world. The same dust that hides its glow will one day settle into a planet, and perhaps into a body like yours. Nothing is separate. Nothing is wasted. Everything drifts, transforms, and begins again. The galaxy is not a distant object. It is a living web, and you are one of its threads, shining quietly in the dark. The Milky Way moves in silence, and yet within that silence, everything speaks. Each star, each grain of dust, each orbit around the galactic heart is part of a language older than words. It is a story of movement without struggle, of change without loss. The galaxy drifts, not because it seeks a destination, but because motion itself is its nature. In that motion, it teaches us something about our own lives, that peace does not mean stillness, and that to move through time gently is also a kind of rest. Every journey in the universe follows a curve. Stars orbit centers, planets circle stars. Even light bends in the presence of gravity. Nothing moves in a straight line because nothing exists alone. Every path is shaped by relationship. The Milky Way itself curves through space, drawn by the faint pull of neighboring galaxies. Andromeda, the nearest large one, approaches us slowly, drawn by the same invisible attraction. In about 4 billion years, the two galaxies will meet and merge. To us, this seems unimaginable, but to the cosmos, it is simply the next step in an endless dance. When they touch, there will be no collision in the way we understand it. The stars are too far apart for that. Instead, their orbits will weave together, reshaping into new forms. The galaxies will stretch, twist, and flow into each other, forming long tails of stars that shimmer like ribbons. Over time, their shapes will settle into one larger galaxy, round and calm, a new home for all that came before. The Milky Way and Andromeda will become one, their histories combined. This future is not an ending but a transformation, a reminder that even the greatest structures are impermanent, and that impermanence can be beautiful. The black hole at our galaxy's center will meet the one in Andromeda's heart. They will circle each other for millions of years before finally merging, sending ripples through space-time itself. These ripples, called gravitational waves, will spread across the universe like the sound of a deep bell. The galaxy will hum with their passing. Even in silence, there will be music. This merging of hearts, invisible yet profound, mirrors what happens on every scale. In nature, two become one becomes many, and everything flows back into unity. Long before that distant future, the Milky Way continues its quiet work. Stars are born and die, clouds gather and dissolve, planets form and vanish. It is easy to think of the galaxy as vast and cold, but within its cycles there is warmth, there is rhythm. Every change leads naturally to another. In this way, the galaxy is like a breath, expanding and contracting, inhaling starlight and exhaling dust. It does not resist decay. It transforms it. Death and birth are not opposites here, but phases of one continuous movement. When you look up at the night sky, you are seeing this movement frozen in light. The glow of the Milky Way across the darkness is the trace of billions of lives unfolding. Each speck of light you see is a sun, each sun surrounded by worlds, some silent, some perhaps alive. Those worlds orbit for ages, untouched by our awareness, yet we share their story. We are made of their same matter, governed by the same laws, carried by the same gravity. The distance between us is vast, but it is also illusion. Everything in the galaxy is connected by the same quiet field. In a sense, the Milky Way is a single being made of countless smaller lives. Its stars are its cells, its gas and dust the blood that moves through it, its magnetic fields the nervous system that binds it together. The black hole at its core is not a destroyer, but a heart, dense, unseen, yet vital. The galaxy does not think as we do, but it moves with intention. Its balance is not accidental, its grace is not random. The same natural intelligence that shaped rivers and trees on Earth shapes the spirals of the Milky Way. To study it is to study ourselves from a greater height. Science shows us how the galaxy works, but philosophy shows us what it means. The two are not separate. Knowledge and wonder feed each other like light and shadow. When we understand how the Milky Way holds itself together, we also glimpse how life holds itself together, through connection, through balance, through quiet adaptation. The same principles that govern the cosmos govern the heart. Stability comes not from control, but from harmony. There is a tenderness in realizing that even galaxies can fade. The Milky Way will not last forever. Its stars will burn out one by one, and the space between them will grow cold. Eventually, the galaxy will dim, becoming a faint shadow of its former self. Yet even then, it will not be gone. Its matter will continue to drift. Its energy will continue to move. And out of that movement, new forms will arise. The universe wastes nothing. It transforms everything. The end of one galaxy is the beginning of another. When you think of this, when you imagine billions of years unfolding beyond your life, it can feel overwhelming, but there is comfort in the scale. Our fears, our ambitions, our fleeting troubles, all are small beside such vastness. Yet being small does not mean being unimportant. The stars themselves are small compared to the galaxy, and still they define its light. You too are a spark within something immense. The fact that you can feel wonder, that you can look up and understand even a little of where you are, is itself extraordinary. You are the universe becoming aware of its own beauty. To live with that awareness is to live gently. The galaxy does not rush. It does not fight against its nature. It turns slowly and without effort, sustained by the same forces that sustain you. When you breathe, you are echoing its rhythm. When you let go of worry, you are joining its flow. The Milky Way teaches us that peace is not found by stopping movement, but by moving in tune with what is. It invites us to trust the pattern that carries us, even when we cannot see its shape. In the galaxy, every connection matters. A star exploding on one side sends elements that will one day form a world on the other. The motion of one cluster can alter the shape of an arm thousands of light years away. Nothing is isolated. Every act, no matter how small, ripples outward through the whole. Our lives are the same. Every kindness, every breath, every thought carries farther than we can know. The universe is sensitive to everything within it, and we are part of that sensitivity. There is an old idea in astronomy that we are the way the cosmos learns to see itself. In the Milky Way, that idea becomes real. For billions of years, the galaxy turned without witnesses. Its stars lived and died in silence. And then, on a small planet orbiting a small star in a quiet arm, life learned to look up. For the first time, the galaxy was reflected in eyes made of its own dust. Through us, it became aware. Through us, it began to wonder about itself. We are not outside observers. We are the continuation of its story. The galaxy is vast, yet its lessons are intimate. It teaches that creation and surrender are not enemies. The stars give light by losing themselves. The black hole gains by taking in, yet what it takes, it transforms. Every part of the galaxy knows how to give and how to receive. Life works the same way. When we share, we grow. When we release, we renew. Even endings can be generous. To live like the galaxy is to live without fear of change, to trust that every transformation carries beauty. If you listen closely to the night, you can almost feel the galaxy's slow pulse. It is not a sound but a sense, a quiet vibration beneath thought. It says, nothing is wasted, nothing is forgotten, everything belongs. The same energy that holds the stars holds you. The same atoms that shine in distant suns move through your breath. You are not separate from the cosmos. You are its expression in human form. To know this is to rest deeply, to feel the vastness and still be calm within it. Someday, the light from our sun will fade, the earth will cool, and the traces of our civilizations will dissolve. But that, too, is part of the pattern. The atoms that make us will return to the galaxy, scattered into the same clouds that once gave us birth. Perhaps, far in the future, they will gather again into a new star, or a new world, or another mind that looks up and wonders. Nothing is lost. Everything changes form. The Milky Way will continue its drift, carrying the memory of every light that has ever shone within it. In this understanding, there is peace. We do not need to cling to permanence. We are part of something already eternal in its change. The Milky Way does not fear its future, and neither should we. Its quiet motion reminds us that time is not an enemy. It is the medium through which creation unfolds. The galaxy moves, and we move with it, both passengers and participants in the same journey. So tonight, as you rest, let the thought of the Milky Way settle over you like a soft blanket. Imagine its arms turning slowly above you, rivers of light winding through the dark. Imagine the stars breathing, the clouds drifting, the silence stretching endlessly outward. You are inside that silence. You are part of that light. Every thought, every heartbeat, every breath is a continuation of the galaxy's story. And as you drift into sleep, remember this. You are not falling away from the world, you are falling back into it. You are aligning with the rhythm of the Milky Way, with its quiet balance of motion and stillness. The same gravity that binds the stars is holding you now, gently, safely. The same darkness that cradles the galaxy cradles your dreams. If this journey through the stars has brought you a sense of calm, let it linger. Let it remind you that knowledge can be a form of rest, and that curiosity, when softened by wonder, becomes peace. The galaxy turns, and you turn with it, both made of the same quiet light. Thank you for drifting through this cosmic sea tonight. May its calm stay with you. May its vastness bring you ease. And if you wish to keep wandering with the stars, to listen again to the gentle voice of science and stillness entwined, join us once more. Subscribe to Sleepy Science Drift, where every night the universe speaks softly and every breath becomes a lullaby of light.